What's up, MMA fans? It's Tudor Leonte from Sherdog here, and today I have the pleasure to talk with UFC welterweight contender, Mr. Ramiz Brahimaj. Hello, Ramiz, and welcome on Sherdog. How are you, sir?
Pretty good, man. How you doing? How you doing?
I'm fine as well. Thank you very much for asking. So, listen, let's start straight ahead from your latest match where you choked unconscious Sasha Paladnikov at UFC on ESPN 29. The match itself lasted 2 minutes and a half. Please talk us through that fight.
Man, pre-fight or during the fight? Just during the fight, he didn't have too much pep in the step. I knew he was just moving back and forth. Once I shot that jab, my coach told me I needed to start to double it up and get busy with my lead hand. He also told me to get ready to flank him, right? Step into the power side and step to the side, step in and get ready to shoot that shot. So we'd been working that backstage a lot. And to see it all be executed the way I executed it was pretty awesome.
Was there something, from the, pre-fight that caught your attention, since you mentioned the pre-fight or during the fight?
Yeah. One of the things that I noticed is that, sometimes when Sasha fights, he leaves himself pretty vulnerable for a lot of takedowns. I saw that in one of his fights actually both of his fights in his UFC fights against Impa and Lewis, I think Kosi Kosi, I hope I'm saying his name right. And I knew that those guys, some of the mistakes that they were making against him, they weren't really settling into the position. So I knew that once I got the takedown, I just had to get ready to chain wrestle, because with anybody realistically in the UFC, it's not always going to be easy to just shoot power doubles. I mean, blast doubles, pardon, and just take them down. You have to get ready to chain wrestle and beat them to the position constantly. So I knew that once I did that, as long as I got in, I felt confident enough in the stand-up, but I knew that as long as I got in on that takedown and I could chain wrestle, I was going to find success there.
Once you secured the position and went for the rear naked choke, you obviously locked that submission attempt. Your opponent passed out. But my question here is, were you surprised that he didn't tap earlier? I mean, he fought a little bit, to liberate himself from the position.
Yeah, I did hear post-fight that, he said that he didn't want to tap to Impa. And I mean, I commend it, right? It's people that go out on their shield, right? There are some guys that are really adamant about going out on their shield. And I mean, it was a little crazy to me, because I was like, I had that choke in pretty deep. As many of you saw, he started to change colors a little bit. And I was like, dude, is he out? I was thinking in my head, I was like, usually some people are out by this time. And, the guy he still kept trying to fight it. Even though I heard it was constricting him really tight. I heard him like gargling and everything. And I was like, dude, is he going to go out? And then he finally went out. And I was like, wow. I was like, man, it was a little impressive, for him to fight it that long. Right. But the thing is, I mean, some dudes, man, they do stuff like that. So I know he stuck to his guns with what he said about going out on the shield, and I have nothing but respect for that,
Your victory was indeed amazing, but it came after a couple of rough years for you. I know that you fought with a tumor behind your eye for almost a year. When did you notice that something was wrong with your eye?
Well, it was one of those things where I didn't really notice it. That was what really startled me, and blew me away. It was the UFC medical team that actually found it whenever they did the MRIs. Because I was getting set to main event the Contender Series that year. And it was probably like 2 weeks prior that I did my MRIs, which was weird because usually MRIs are one of the first things you do on your medical evaluations. And they found it and they called me, and I just couldn't believe it, when they told me that I had a tumor in orbit with my eye. And because the thing is like usually, like with a lot of tumors, they get so big that they start to impair your vision, or they give you headaches if they're in your brain, or if they're in your body, you could see them, right? They're just a big mass, So for me not to see any kind of blurred vision or anything crazy was just it was really a blessing in disguise to get it removed. And yeah, it was just rough, man. It was really rough to be sidelined for as long as I was sidelined, but everything happens for a reason.
Your recovery went well. You bounced back from that situation, and actually, you were supposed to make your UFC debut in June 2020, but that time, once again, you passed through these difficult times.
Man.
And you were supposed to face Takashi Sato, but one of your cornermen tested positive for COVID-19. What did you think at that point?
Man, part of my language, I was like, you gotta be fucking kidding me. I couldn't believe it. I was like, this is I was like, this has gotta be a game, man. Somebody's probably playing games with me right now. I thought it was a bad dream, like everything that happened, especially in these past 2 years, it just felt like a bad dream. I thought it was like, I was like, all right, like you can wake me up now. Like this is a really bad dream. But yeah, I mean, it was just it was one of those things where I couldn't believe it, and then I was driving home from Las Vegas because during one of the protocols was that if you or your cornerman tested positive, they weren't going to allow you guys to fly, right? Because they were too scared. Like they didn't know much about COVID back then, like in terms of how it would spread or anything like that. So their precautions were a lot more stricter. But as I was driving back from Vegas to Dallas, I was like, man, just relax. Everything's going to pan out the way it needs to pan out. And it was frustrating, right? Because I was cutting weight. I was literally probably like 6 pounds away from weight. And it was the day before weigh-ins, the night before weigh-ins, pardon me. And I mean, like I said, I was just in utter disbelief.
And then once again, in your UFC debut, you lost, due to that situation, due to that, gruesome injury where your ear almost, fall off. How long did it take to recover from that?
The recovery in itself wasn't long, but yet again, I listened to my coach, and because it was probably going to be like about a 2-month recovery, just to make sure to reduce all the inflammation from the trauma of the ear being open and all of that stuff, right? So it was going to be about 2 months, but my coach made sure that I took a little bit extra time just to make sure that everything healed up the right way, and we would never have any issues in the future, God forbid. But it was just, I guess, the precautions, right? The precautions of not re-injuring it and not rushing back right away was one of the harder things to do, right? Because I knew that it was just going to be a 2-month recovery. So for me, I try to push the envelope a little bit. I'm like, I want to get back to training. Nothing's going to hold me back, but to sit there and just really submit and just listen to what my coach told me, it was one of the harder things, but it definitely paid dividends.
I guess that's not how you imagined your UFC debut to be, right?
No, definitely not. I don't think too many people would, right?
Of course. But at last, you took home your well-deserved and hardly fought first UFC victory. How do you feel right now?
Man, I feel ecstatic, right? I'm a very, for the most part, I'm a very calm person. I know sometimes I get a little bit hype after my wins. It's normal, right, with all the hard work that we put in and everything. But I've always, I enjoy the victories. I enjoy the lessons. I enjoy everything about it because I understand that this process and this journey, it's not an easy one, right? And it's one that's going to be faced with many difficulties, many adversities, many ups, many downs, and that's just the way it goes. But I feel really good. You know, I'm very happy. I'm very pleased with the outcome. Anytime you get a win, you should be pleased with the win, right? Because at the end of the day, you go home with 2 year checks, you move your chips forward, and that's a W in the win column. So I definitely feel good.
In the post-fight interview, you said that right now you want to take some time off, or did I get that wrong?
So I do want to take just a little bit of time off, just to let my body heal, man, because I've really been in 4 training camps since January. Since I really started to make my recovery, where I helped Austin Lingo get ready for his fight, helped Jeff Neal get ready for his fight, helped a bunch of guys, Sada Wad, Abdul Karim Al Salwadi, and all of these guys that trained down at Fortis, cornering them, helping them prepare for fights. So maybe, you know, I just need like about a week, 2 weeks off just to decompress a little bit, spend some time with the family, and as I said, also look to see how I could start to help and be beneficial in the community over here and the community abroad.
Yeah, of course. It all your time off is well deserved, sir, considering your journey and your latest performance.
Thank you.
You have Albanian roots, is that
Yes, sir.
correct? And from
Yes, sir. Albanian, ethnic Albanian Kosovar.
Do you still have parents here in Europe?
I have family in Europe. I have tons and tons of family in Europe that, believe it or not, actually, I have a lot of family that immigrated to Germany, that immigrated to Switzerland. I have family in Sweden as well. Realistically, all throughout Europe, you know, if you count all my cousins and everything, right? They're just all over. But yeah, definitely 100%. I have my whole dad's side and my whole mother's side. They're still all there in Kosovo, and we have land over there as well. You know, from the land that my father inherited from his parents, and so on and so forth. So it's definitely one of those things that I continue to keep in contact with the family, and one of those things that I want to keep alive, right? So whenever I have kids, I definitely want to bring them back to Kosovo and show them the land that my grandfather, my father's from, and show them their roots. You know, it's definitely something to be proud of. You know, to understand your culture and to understand who you are and where you come from, while not forgetting where you're going. You know, so it's definitely one of those things that I'm very excited about. I can't wait to go back. Can't wait to see my family over there as well, and just get in touch with my roots.
One last topic I would like to discuss with you before letting you go. You served in the U.S. Army, is that correct?
Yes, yes, sir. I did 8 years as a reservist.
Were you sent overseas?
No, just training exercises. The only time I was really sent overseas was just for a training exercise. We were in Japan and we worked with the JP, the Japanese police, which that was an incredible experience for me. All in all, man, I loved it. I got to experience Tokyo. I got to experience so many other places in Japan, and it was phenomenal.
I don't wish to cross any lines here, but as a
No, of course.
as a military man, I would like to ask your opinion on what is happening right now with the U.S. Army in Afghanistan, of course.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely anytime any country in the world is in conflict, it's sad, right? Because ultimately the loss of innocent lives is going to occur, and then you have a lot of displaced people, and realistically what happens is post-war you have a lot of anarchy, right? And it's never usually the bad guys who get in trouble. Usually you're going to find that a lot of good people end up suffering. So it's one of those things that my heart truly goes out to any and everybody who's suffering, right? So it doesn't matter, be it in Afghanistan, be it what's going on in Cuba and Venezuela, anywhere, right? Any country that's affected with conflict, my heart automatically goes out to the innocent people. I just hope that these issues can be resolved fairly quickly for the sake of those innocent people, so that people could go back to hopefully living in some form of normality, even let's just say if it's like in Afghanistan where they haven't really known normality in the past 100 years, right? Because they've been in back-to-back conflicts with Russia, with America, with Taliban, with other factions that they have over there. So it's just definitely one of those things that I just hope for the people's sake, for the innocent people, that they could go back to just hopefully understanding what a normal life is. So I really do hope so.
Sir, thank you very much for sharing with us your opinion on the topic. Do you have any last message?
Man, I just want to say thank you to everybody who supports me. You know, it means a lot to me. I'm very blessed to be on the journey that I'm on, and I just can't wait to keep climbing the ladder and keep leaving more memorable performances in that octagon, right? And getting to show people some new tricks up my sleeve and making people familiar with my performances. So I look forward to it a lot.
Sir, thank you very much for your time. Congratulations once again on your latest victory, and hopefully I will hear again from you in the future.
My man, thank you so much. See you soon. Thank you, sir.
Have a nice day. Bye-bye.